Darkness is a blast. Top Cow approached me about a year ago to do the Darkness, and it was sort of out of the blue for me because most of my stuff been sort of, off kilter, not quite in the mainstream, and they just asked for my take. They wanted a new, original kind of take on the character, and I think I was lucky enough to give them something they hadn't seen before. And I was lucky enough that the people who run this company trust their creators enough to just let them run with their ideas. And so they, gave me enough rope to hang myself, and we ran along and did, I see it. Only 4 issues are out, but I'm a year into the book myself. So I feel like I've been on it a long time, even though the public hasn't really seen that many issues. But they've been really supportive, and I made a lot of weird changes and a lot of drastic cliffhangers, and I really tried to shake things up, and they've been behind me 100%. So yeah, I expect like the next year of the Darkness, like every 4 issues, things get turned on their head. So hopefully no one gets bored or complacent. I think anytime you're a writer given free rein on a character, you immediately think, what would I do if I were that character? And it's hard for me to put myself in those shoes because Jackie's an amoral person, but so I looked at it in sort of more pragmatic way. What would I do with those powers if I had those powers and I were a criminal? And I thought I wouldn't settle for being just a hitman. I'd want to, upgrade. I wouldn't even settle for being a mob boss. I would want to be, Pablo Escobar. I would want a country, So he upgraded and upgraded and upgraded. He sort of, it's sort of the Peter principle in action. He went until he was not competent anymore. And so he's got this country under his thumb now. And running a country is turning out to be a bigger pain than he thought. And so the first 6 issues are sort of him learning the upper limits of not only his power, but, his intellect and, and his moral depravity. Is he really depraved, or does he have standards? And we're figuring that out along these 6 issues that, he's not quite sure how much of what he considers evil about himself is him or the Darkness. And so that's something we explore, especially in issues 4, 5, and 6. After what happens in number 6, it's kind of a traumatic conclusion. And then we're going to go into another 6-issue arc that tries to establish Jackie's arch enemy. Like, that's something that's sort of been missing in the character, is an opposite number. And we're going to introduce a character called the Sovereign, who is actually a character who holds a grudge on Darkness wielders from thousands of years ago. And he's still alive today, and it's his life's mission to make Darkness wielders' lives miserable. And he's not associated with the Angelus or the Witchblade. He's out of that sort of pantheon of characters. He's just a guy who has a lot of resources and hates the Darkness, and he wants to make Jackie's life a living hell, and he's going to for the next year. The sad thing about creating new characters for the Darkness is they tend not to live very long because, Spider-Man beats up Dr. Octopus and puts him in jail, and he comes back. When somebody fights the Darkness, they wind up in pieces usually. So we always have to keep introducing new characters for him to face. And the thing about Jackie, we decided the best way to make him a sympathetic character was, since he's a bad person, to keep introducing worse people to contrast him to. So we've introduced a character that helps him learn how to expend his powers, and we're going to ultimately learn that was for his own ends rather than Jackie's, which shouldn't be surprising. He deals with untrustworthy people every day as a criminal. So we have a new love interest who, like all of Jackie's love interests, probably isn't long for this world. It's up to them. I'll stay here till I'm fired, but I think probably we have a 3-year plan for the Darkness. And, there's only 4 issues out, but I'm 1 year into my 3-year plan. So, sort of my first year is breaking the character down and building it back up again. And the second year is sort of him realizing that he's part of an even broader conflict than he thought. And then the third year is sort of going to be him taking charge of that situation. Him finally taking responsibility for his own behavior and for his role in the universe as the wielder of this awesome power. And it doesn't necessarily make him a good character, but I want to make him a more thoughtful character. So I think that's the goal we're going to, by the third year of this plan, I think he's going to be a grown-up and he's going to be a complete person. Not necessarily good, but he'll be a rich, more complex character. I'm everywhere, so and what's great about it, each place offers different things. At DC, you get plenty of stability. You get a chance to work on characters that you've loved since you were a kid. Same at Marvel. And in Image, you get total absolute freedom. And Top Cow is like a nice middle ground between those two things. You get a lot of support. You get to work with great characters. But there's also a lot less editorial overhead, and there's a lot less hoops to jump through. So if you can please Mark, if you can please your editor, Rob, you can get an idea through, and it's pretty painless. And like I said, these guys, once they hire you, you've got their trust, and they let you prove it. So it's been great. They just let me run with my ideas, and it's been very satisfying.